In May 2026, Disney did something they never thought they'd have to do. They admitted failure. Not just any failure. A $3 billion mistake that nobody saw coming. For 15 years, Marvel Studios was considered the only bulletproof bet in entertainment. A money-printing machine. A guarantee. Something so powerful that it made Disney untouchable. But on May 20th, 2026, during a closed-door investor call, Disney's CEO admitted something that shocked Wall Street. Marvel didn't save Disney. It destroyed it. And the worst part? It's still destroying it right now. By the end of this video, you're going to see the exact document Disney tried to bury. Page 42 of their Q2 2026 investor filing. The one that proves Marvel is no longer a creative empire. It's a dying asset they're trying to squeeze dry before it collapses completely. This is the untold story of how $3 billion disappeared, how an entire empire was built on a lie, and why Marvel's biggest problem was never the audience. It was always Disney. Let's go back to 2019. Marvel Studios had just completed Phase 3, and what they'd built was nothing short of miraculous.
Happy birthday!
Avengers Endgame made $2.798 billion worldwide.
Avengers!
Assemble.
The highest grossing film in human history. Captain America Civil War pulled in $1.1 billion. Black Panther $1.3 billion. Infinity War $2.05 billion. These weren't just movies. They were cultural events. Global phenomena.
Assemble.
The stock market loved Marvel. Investors were obsessed. In 2019 alone, Marvel movies generated over $8 billion in box office revenue globally. Theme parks added another $4 billion in merchandise and attractions.
Oh my God!
Disney Plus launched with Marvel content as its cornerstone. Analysts predicted Marvel would be worth $50 billion by 2025. But here's what nobody was paying attention to. Happened behind the scenes. While everyone was celebrating Phase 3, Disney was making a decision that would trigger a catastrophic chain reaction. A decision so desperate, so panicked, that it would eventually destroy the very thing they were trying to protect. And that decision? It started with Netflix. In 2019, Netflix had 158 million subscribers. Disney had launched Disney Plus 3 months earlier with 10 million. And Bob Chapek saw a threat, not a competitor. Because Netflix wasn't just a streaming service. It had become the future of entertainment. The subscription model was cannibalizing theatrical releases. Movie studios were dying. Theater chains were closing. And Disney was terrified. The decision was made at the highest level. Disney would flood Disney Plus with premium content. Expensive Marvel shows, big-budget Star Wars series. They would spend whatever it took to beat Netflix. Whatever it took. In 2020, Disney's content spending was $23 billion. In 2021, it jumped to $26 billion. By 2022, Disney was spending $33 billion per year on content. $33 billion. More than any company in history had ever spent on entertainment in a single year. And Marvel was the star of that spending. Secret Invasion. $150 million budget for a 6-episode show that nobody asked for. She-Hulk. $200 million for 10 episodes. 10 episodes of a character nobody cared about.
I'm Jennifer Walters. I'm a lawyer who happens to be a Hulk.
The Eternals. $300 million. released in theaters, but massively underperformed. Ant-Man Quantumania, $200 million, made less money than Black Panther did in its opening weekend. But Disney didn't stop. They couldn't stop, because stopping would mean admitting they were wrong. But here's where it gets worse. Because Disney wasn't just bleeding money on Disney Plus shows, they were simultaneously destroying Marvel's theatrical legacy. And something unprecedented happened. None of them made money. No. Let me be specific. Captain America: Brave New World made $415 million worldwide. For context, Thunderbolts finished its theatrical run at $382 million. That's below the safety threshold for a massive blockbuster. The Fantastic Four made $521 million, which sounds big until you realize it cost $300 million to make and $200 million to market. That's a net loss before we even factor in studio cuts and theater splits. That Disney's Q4 2024 earnings call had analysts asking uncomfortable questions. Is Marvel dead? One analyst asked directly. Disney's CFO paused for 7 seconds before responding. 7 seconds. That pause told Wall Street everything. By the end of 2024, Marvel's theatrical revenue was down 68% from Phase 3 peaks. But here's the thing nobody talks about. The theatrical collapse wasn't the biggest problem. It was a symptom of the real disease. The real disease was something darker. Something Disney couldn't control. And it started showing up in the data in 2023. In 2023, something shifted. Marvel fans started calling it superhero fatigue. But internal Disney analytics show it was something worse. It was active rejection. The data shows that Marvel's Disney Plus shows had a 47% drop-off rate after episode 1. That means nearly half of all viewers watched the first episode and never came back. For comparison, Game of Thrones had a 12% drop-off after episode 1. The Crown had an 8% drop-off. Marvel shows were hemorrhaging viewers at a rate that suggested not just disinterest, but active dissatisfaction. Box office tracking data from May 2024 shows that even franchise loyalists, people who'd seen every Marvel movie, were making a conscious decision to skip theatrical releases. Message board analysis shows the language shifted from excitement to cynicism. From "can't wait to see this too," "is this going to be worth $18 for a ticket?" Disney's internal research from 2024 shows the specific problem. Audiences felt betrayed. They felt like Marvel was prioritizing quantity over quality, that Disney was using Marvel as a content faucet instead of protecting it as a sacred brand. And they were right, because that's exactly what Disney was doing. We don't need to make good shows. We need to make shows that keep the Disney Plus subscription active. By November 2023, audience sentiment data showed Marvel had officially lost the cultural moment. It wasn't even a debate anymore. Marvel was done. But Disney couldn't admit it. Because if Marvel failed, the entire Disney Plus strategy failed. And Disney's stock was already fragile. Which brings us to the moment everything changed. The day Disney admitted the truth. During Disney's Q2 2026 investor call, the company released their updated 10Q filing. They're making limited movies with limited budgets, using beloved characters like Iron Man and Captain America. Not because it's creatively sound, but because it's the only way to get people to pay money anymore. Yes, it's finished. We're just managing the corpse now. And that's where we are in May 2026, all because they treated Marvel like a faucet instead of a brand. The $3 billion mistake wasn't a single decision. It was 1,000 decisions, all made by people who thought they knew better. All made by a corporation that valued quarterly earnings over cultural legacy. And the worst part? It's still not over. Because Marvel's problems aren't solved. They're just being managed differently now. Slower, quieter, but with no less pain. This is what happens when a company forgets why people loved something in the first place. This is what happens when profit becomes the only religion. And this is what happens when a brand dies not with a bang, but with a slow, quiet retreat inside a corporate spreadsheet. The story of Marvel isn't over, but the empire is. And Disney is just now admitting what the world has known for 2 years.